Welcome back to the Free Spirit Astrology Podcast. I'm your host, Brandy Williams. How are we doing? Last time we spoke, it was before the Aquarius solar eclipse. It was before the Saturn-Neptune conjunction that just happened Friday. How are y'all? Is your mind in the sunken place? Here we are in the thick of some very real changes and realizations. This week is going to be quite interesting. It's going to be, mixed bag. Maybe a little sunny, a little cloudy with the chance of lightning. Who knows? Depends on how you experience things. It's not necessarily going to be a bad week, but we may be in a bit of a fog because we have a retrograde coming. And then by the end of the week, we have this pretty combustible transit. So let's talk about all the things leading up to that and, some of the cathartic releases that could happen afterwards. So today, Sunday, February 22nd, we have this amazing transit, Venus in Pisces trine Jupiter retrograde in Cancer. Both planets in their exaltation. They are in a very strong position. This is a beautiful alignment, very supportive. It's collaborative. I think one of the main facets of this connection is that we will feel content. It feels like a beautiful day outside. We're being pulled into some type of creative endeavor, possibly. We feel happy. We feel joy. We feel generous when we have this transit. We're in a good mood, and we are around other people who are in a good mood. And Venus in Pisces is creative, and she's romantic, and she's friendly, and she is exalted in the sign of Pisces because she doesn't have a big ego in Pisces. She's vulnerable. Jupiter in Cancer is generous and nurturing and is a matriarch, has that protective mama quality. So I think we will see a lot of support this week from people who are willing to be vulnerable, who have the courage to open their hearts up. We have some growing tensions that are coming from Saturn and Neptune changing the way we want to exist and do things, but also with this eclipse changing us into our truest and most authentic selves. And that comes with some growing pains, and it comes with some tensions between other people in relationships that just don't vibe anymore. So I think that this week there may be a situation, or there may be some observations or realizations about something, and perhaps we usually kind of keep that to ourselves and just kind of suffer in silence, but this week we may be more inclined to talk about it, and we may receive some great support. We may receive some good coaching, a different perspective. But what I love about this transit is that we will ultimately see that there are people who care about us, and we have a village, we have a support system. We just need to ask and be vulnerable and be open to that. And I think that that's wonderful. I think this is a good week to help other people, to take care of each other, to remind people, what they mean to you, and to be grateful for the people who love you instead of giving so much energy to the people who treat you like shit, or who you find it kind of hard to be around. Like, can we give a shout out to those who love us and who see us so clearly and who validate us? I know that's something that Jupiter and Venus in their exaltation signs bring together. Also, you'll be surprised what happens if you just do something. If you just throw something at the wall without much thought about it, you just jump. There is opportunity this week. There's also opportunity to reap from previous seeds that were planted this week with Jupiter and Venus. Just opportunities, money, all the things, abundance, but support, asking for help. Something might be a yes this week. There might be positive results this week. So this is also just a good time between friends, good meetups, good for social events. If you're planning a trip for the summer, this is the best time to, initiate and plan or even just visualize what you want that trip to look like, because doing so under this type of transit will just, you're ensured to have a good time and a wonderful experience. And you never know, there may be some type of discount or rate this week, so not bad to look into. Yeah, but definitely, don't be afraid to ask for help with this transit, because you're probably going to need it with this retrograde that we are about to get into right now. So by Thursday, February 26th, Mercury in its fall is going to turn retrograde. And so Mercury is said to be in its fall in the sign of Pisces, because Pisces is a dissolving and unraveling type of energy. And Mercury is the mind. So this is a Mercury placement or transit where we lose the plot, where we start to see things in colors and vibes and frequencies, and we really don't know how to put words to it. We're more so feeling our ways into things, and the intuition is way stronger than the logical brain, the logical mind, when Mercury is in Pisces. So I don't think that it's not strong. I think that it's using a different function than the modern world likes to use, because the modern world is heavily influenced by masculine energy, and this is a very feminine and intuitive mind. But now it's going to retrograde, which means that we insert all of the to review and revisit and revamp something, and rethink some things. So first off, you can just tell by how I'm like talking super slow, trying to pace out my words. The comprehension is in the ocean. The decision making abilities is trash this week. Mine has been trashed for a few weeks. Even the smallest mental tasks will feel hard and debilitating. And there are some of us who are in a state of surrender. We're like, you know what? Bet I'm going with the flow. I'm doing less. I don't know what we're having for dinner, so, I will play it by ear. Some of us don't like to operate like that. Some of us do not like to feel our ways through. We are very much logical brained, we're very left brained, and that irritates the shit out of us. I'm kind of in between right now. I'm in transition between the two. So if we don't feel like we can put one foot in front of the other, we get very irritated, and we start to get irritated with people around us. And that's something that we're going to see, and it's going to build up. But I think one thing to notice when this retrograde is happening, retrogrades get a bad rep, but they're reminders that we live in cycles and seasons, and that we are not meant to operate in the way that the modern world has conditioned us to exist. Our minds are supposed to take breaks. And after Saturn and Neptune remains in this conjunction, we're going to start seeing a more cyclical way of living, whether we like it or not. And depending on if you are on board with that, you might feel frustrated, because you might be inclined to produce and produce and produce, and that is just not the season that we are in right now. This is a new era where we are not going to be in grind and hustle mode all the time, lest you will be burnt out, things will break down, things will not work, you will hit a lot of walls, and you'll be very, very pissed. So I wouldn't even try to make my brain do things that it's resisting to do this week. This is a good week to do less and to schedule less and to block your schedule off. Now, if you can't because you work for somebody else and they make your schedule, this is a great week to phone in a favor and ask for help when the brain is just on stuck. Don't be too proud to ask for help. Don't be scared to ask for help, even if it's the most mundane things. Now, some people are going to be so irritated with their own minds that they're going to start to project that irritation out. And there can be criticism from people this week. But we've been doing a lot of work. We're still going to be triggered. Some of us are going to be like, who they think they talking to? And some of us are knowing that You know, people who are serving us something are definitely serving it to themselves first. May we bless their irritation and alchemize that into patience for them. But they, at the minimum, not letting that be something about us, not taking offense to anyone else's irritation this week. It's easier said than done. But, maybe we think about everybody's trying to make sense of a life or some changes that are just kind of foggy, and it's harder for some of us than others, and sometimes vice versa, right? Some things are just weird and hard and foggy, and there's a lot of unknowns, and you know we're trying to figure some shit out. So if you notice that people seem ghosty, like silent, don't take that personal. Try not to take it personal. You're not being ghosted. Their minds are stuck. Your mind is stuck too. I think we should notice if we are trying to force ourselves to do something and ask, through the irritation of trying to do something, what am I trying to do? What is my mind trying to make me do instead? And why is that a problem? And if it's something I need to do because it's my task at hand and it needs to get done, do I have to do it alone? Can I delegate? Can I ask for help? Can I create an atmosphere to get my brain inspired to complete the task? Like, take more frequent breaks, listen to music. What can I do to get me creatively inspired to get something done? Because this is just our minds and bodies not wanting to be on go, go, go. We are coming into cyclical living and changing gears. Sometimes we need to wait on the information to come to us versus seeking and hunting for the information and trying to make ourselves be productive in a way that energetically we are not trying to be this week. And the intuitive feminine parts of existing are stronger, and they are getting stronger and stronger, and it's something that we are having a hard time trying to fight, but that doesn't mean that we're not going to try. And so that's going to be causing tension. And by Friday, February 27th, Mars in Aquarius is going to square Uranus and Taurus, and that is a very explosive, erratic, surprising type of transit. So when we're talking about Mars being in Aquarius, we are talking about the desire to be liberated and to be authentic, the desire to fight for other people, the desire to, and the ambition to be ourselves and to be free and to do something that we're meant to do and to have our freedom to act and to be. And then that's going to square a need to be secure and safe, and things to do with foundations and structures. First off, this could just be us wanting to break out. We're like, listen, I don't even want to do none of this shit anymore. I don't want to do this routine anymore. I don't want to work here anymore. I don't want to do this person's way. I'm busting out. This is like busting out of the system, right? Of course, globally, socially, you can see protests and things happen that are surprising and it could cause an uproar. But personally, this is us not wanting to be a part of a situation, a way of doing things, a system. This could be us going off or somebody going off on us, because they feel compressed or they feel strong armed or held down in a certain type of way. This is the thing. Somebody being controlled will always liberate themselves eventually. Whether they just leave, walk out, or they just come out the bag on your ass. And this is a come out the bag on your ass type of energy. So this is the pressure that builds when something has just been fracturing for a very long time. So you could probably imagine a growing tense situation that, may be surprising to you, that automatically you just like go to hell off. When we're talking about Uranus and we're talking about Aquarius, we want to be careful of things that we say on social media that could blow up in our faces. We want to be careful of weird people on the road, and Mercury's retrograde. So, double check your flight information. Make sure that you have all of the documents that you need if you are traveling. If there are any little crazy things, happening with your car, you don't want to just bypass that. You want to get that checked out, because this is a very, accident prone, volatile type of energy. Be careful with sharp objects, because we could be holding a lot of tension, and then, we could potentially cut ourselves while we're cooking or something like that. But this is a great week to reflect. It's a retrograde. Reflect, revisit some things. What have we learned from the past? Are we holding on to grudges that need to be released? Are we holding on to situations and environments that need to be released because they are bringing out parts of us that we don't really like and that just don't feel healthy for us anymore? Is it time to honor the call forward? And then by Saturday, we're going to see that Mercury retrograde is going to conjunct Venus. That's beautiful, because not only is that creative and insightful, there is forgiveness in that transit. There is a different perspective. There's a shift, and all of these planets are doing their walk. It reminds me of the monks that are walking around the country for peace. I feel like the personal planets did a walk in the Aquarius parts of the chart, and they were all purged and stripped of things with Pluto and Aquarius, and now they're hitting the North Node, and the North Node is bringing support, and it's asking us to trust something that we can't see but that we can feel and that we can sense. And it's asking us to part ways with addictions and escapist behaviors, because Pisces energy is beautiful, but it will also cause us to check out because things feel too heavy. And so we're going to be approached with some things. Is it time to forgive? Because is the thing holding you back the resentments that are being carried? Is the baggage inside of you, us, and that needs to be looked at and to be resolved, right? Can we not get to our future because we don't have an open heart, and we have this armor on, and so we can't navigate that future path with those things. And so we're going to be called to another checkpoint, but also we're going to see a lot of opportunities and a lot of insights and ideas that don't make sense right now, and they're not meant to be launched automatically, because when Saturn and Neptune got together, they said, hey, there is a new dream, there are new opportunities that will surprise you and make you feel very inspired, but they're not going to be quick shoots to the top. They're not going to be like, just this rocket fuel blast off situation. They're going to be ebbs and flows, but definitely hold on to the ideas and write them down and be inspired, and don't be afraid to be open to something, and don't be afraid to try it and look silly and fail in whatever sense that might mean for you, because whatever you are doing and feeling called to is going to help somebody. It's already probably helping somebody. So just be courageous and be outside with an idea. Let's take care of each other. So I hope that everyone has a good week. I hope that there is blessings coming towards you every single day. I hope that it's easier than you expect it to be. May you be surprised this week by an unexpected blessing, abundance. May you feel loved this week and supported. And if you need support, you can always email me. I'll leave my email in the show notes. I'll leave some links if you want to book a reading. I'm about to start my Q2 year ahead. So, you want to get on board with that. It's all good. Half of y'all got my number, but you want to be support it, be vulnerable, and reach out because I can stand in the gap with you. So I love you all, and I will see you next time. Thank you. Bye.